Have you ever been in a traumatic situation? Are you in this situation right now? Doesn't it feel like it's never ending? Well, I'm here to share with you all that there's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm super excited to share with you all my trauma to triumph story. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Kabrea, and I'm the founder of a New York City-based image, wardrobe styling, and personal shopping firm that goes by the name of Fashionably Yours. And what I basically do is I help professional men and women stand out and feel confident in what they wear. Now, I do this in a number of 3 ways. I help them define their style, revamp their wardrobe, of course, and also gain a sense of confidence when it comes to their overall image. My trauma actually all started, I want to say, about 4 to 5 years ago. And that's when Fashionably Yours, kind of came about. And I remember it as if it was yesterday. So at this time, I remember I was a sophomore in college. I was attending the University of Bridgeport, and I was majoring in fashion merchandising at the time. And everything went well until I received a letter on my door that said my name, Kabrea. And when I read the letter, it basically said that if I couldn't pay the remaining amount or the balance due, I wouldn't be able to complete the rest of my time here to get my bachelor's degree in fashion merchandising. And I remember when I received that letter, the first thing I did was I called my mother and I told her, "Hey mom, I got this letter from the school and they told me that if this is not paid out in full, I won't be able to finish the school." And I remember feeling sad and frustrated, but I remember feeling like, you know what, let me call my mom. She's going to fix this for me. She's going to make this right. And this was probably the first time I remember my mom ever saying, "There's nothing I can do about it. I can't help you." She was always the person to fix things for me. And at this moment, she couldn't. She couldn't help me. So what I did was I started going in and out of the financial office and figuring out how I can, complete the rest of the semester at least. And they gave me ideas. They said, maybe you can, apply for some more loans. Maybe you can get some more money. Maybe you can do something else and try to get another scholarship. And guess what, guys? That's exactly what I did. I tried to take out a few more loans. Didn't get approved. I tried to get my mom to co-sign on a few loans. I didn't get approved. I tried to do the loan myself. Didn't get approved. I even asked my boyfriend. I was so desperate at this point, and I didn't get approved. So then I said, okay, well, loans are out of the resources because unfortunately I can't pay. So I started looking at some other scholarships. And I got into a program where I would mentor and study and help kids with their homework. And I got into that program. But guess what, guys? I wouldn't receive the money until next year. So I started the scholarship program process, but it didn't matter because I wouldn't receive the money in time to complete my second semester of school. So what ended up happening? I had to pack my things and go. But before I packed my things and go and left the school, I made a realization that this is what's happening, and everything that I did to try to, conquer not having the funds and trying to get the funds wasn't working for me. So it finally came to me, and I said, maybe this is something God is telling me something. God is telling me that maybe school isn't for you, or maybe God is telling me maybe you'll finish, but you won't finish right now. I have other things planned for you. And I didn't know what he had planned for me. I just knew back in my mind that this is what my mom said, this is what I have to do, and this is what I'm going to do. But I couldn't do it at the moment, one way or another. So what I did was I started doing some research on some fashion internships. And I started, sending out my cover letter and my resume and applying to all these fashion internships, whether they were paid or unpaid. I was going to get my foot through the door. So as I came back down home to New York, I had a few internships lined up for myself. And what I did was I went to each and every single interview with my head held high and with my resume out, looking nice, all fancied up. And I also made sure I put that I attended the University of Bridgeport because I wanted these people to know that I did go to school, and I did go to school for fashion. And at the time, I knew I wanted to be in the fashion industry, but I didn't know exactly what it was that I wanted to do, because again, the fashion industry is such a wide range of things, and there's so many things you can do. You can be a photographer, a writer, a stylist, a model. You know, there's so many things you can do. So I decided little by little that I would do little internships here and there and figure out what was I truly passionate about. PR wasn't it, but it was a great experience for me to learn. I will say this, working at the PR firm, I was more so learning more about different types of coffees rather than PR. But when I did do a little hint of PR work, I didn't enjoy it at all. In that point in time, although I was trying to be proactive in my situation, my mother and we just weren't seeing eye to eye. And I felt as if whatever I was doing wasn't good enough. I felt a lot of resentment over me. And it was just so weird. Now that I look back on it, I can see and pick a few spots and points of why that was happening. But at the point in time, I just felt like lost and confused. I had to learn how to become an adult outside, especially in New York. You know, things are hard. I had to learn how to do my taxes, how to build my credit, how to start budgeting my money to start paying bills. Like, guys, that's a lot of responsibilities that we have to learn. And I just didn't know how to do that. And I was looking for guidance from my mother. I just remember there was a point in time we got into a few altercations. 2 were actually physical altercations. And now that I'm older, I can realize the difference and spot that what I was going through at that point in time was jealousy from my mother. I felt as if she felt that way about me because I was doing and accomplishing things that she wasn't able to accomplish at the age that I was. Because when she was my age, at 19, she had me. She didn't get the opportunity to go to college and go to school and, you know, complete and get her law degree like she wanted to. So I felt that she envied me for trying to do my dreams instead of hers, because originally my mother wanted me to go to law school, and I told her I'm not a person who argues. I hate conflict. If there's conflict this way, I'm running the opposite way from it, because I just absolutely hate arguing. I'm not the type of person who likes any type of conflict. I run the opposite way, guys. So the last altercation, I remember coming up the stairs, coming into the house, and I had came back from a shift of work, and I remember I was laying on the couch. That was where I was sleeping, and there was a closet that I basically lived in. I put my clothes in there, my jackets, my shoes. I had a suitcase in there. I had like a big black bag of like clothes in there as well too. I never unpacked. And I remember coming inside and getting ready for the next day, because I had work the morning, and I remember going in that closet and there was absolutely no clothes in there, and I realized that my mother had took everything that I owned in that closet out and she put it somewhere. So eventually I confronted her about it, and we were just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I felt so angry. I felt so angry and so frustrated with how she was reacting that I had to take a step back and I had to take a walk. Instead of acting on how I felt at the moment, I took a walk. I probably was outside for maybe an hour. I was venting on the phone, telling them what was going on, and I was just like, well, I don't know what to do next, guys. I'm just kind of over this crap right now. And I remember going back up the stairs, and I remember my mother had came out of her room, and she yelled, "Where the fuck were you?" And I had to calm myself down, and I said I went for a walk. Like, I was really that upset. I felt all these angry feelings that I've never felt in my life before, that I had to go for a walk, and I had to cool down and not act on how I was feeling at the moment. And if you guys have never been in that moment before, I wouldn't want you to be, because it's like you're not yourself, you're not thinking clearly. And I was happy enough that I was able to catch myself and say, you know what, go for a walk, calm yourself down, think things through, think about what your next action is going to be. Remember, my mother had grabbed me and she had slammed me down, and I remember she was on top of me, punching me in my face over and over and over again. And I remember thinking to myself that I couldn't call out because I had work the next morning actually. I couldn't call out. I had to make sure that, you know, I didn't have too many bruises on my face, because that would look inappropriate for work. So all I was thinking to myself was I had to make sure that I was, ready and prepared for the next day. And I remember while she was on me, I was just so angry and so frustrated that I kept yelling, "Get off of me, get off of me, I hate you, I hate you." I really, and as I was saying those words, "I hate you," I really felt it, guys, at that moment, And I remember she finally got off of me. She went in her room and she grabbed all my suitcases, all my clothes, my bags, my shoes, everything that she took in that closet, and she threw it at me. And she said, "Get the hell out of my house. Get the fuck out of my house," is what she said. And I knew when I packed up my stuff, she watched me pack my stuff too, and she said, "Give me my keys." I gave her my keys, and I knew there was no turning back from that, because 2 physical altercations is too many altercations. And I didn't want to go through the stress, the depression, the feeling of not being wanted is not a good feeling. And I think what was worse for me was the fact that my mother was going through something, and she didn't want to be around anyone. She didn't want to be a mother anymore. And for me, I felt like I needed my mom the most. I needed my mom the most at that time, because I was experiencing things I've never experienced before, and there was no one to guide me and let me know that this is okay. This is just something that's going on right now. There are going to be better things that are going to happen to you. Just wait and see. Continue to be patient. Do what you have to do. I wished at that moment that my mother would just pull things aside and really see and realize and analyze that I was stressed. I didn't know what stress was, guys. I never experienced it before, and it's not a good feeling, because you don't want to eat, you don't want to sleep. There's so many things that are going on in your head and your mind that you're not really understanding and realizing what's going on in front of you. So after my mother kicked me out, at the time we lived on the 4th floor. There was absolutely no elevator. So I had to lug my suitcases and bags of clothes and shoes, everything down the stairs. And at the time I wanted to call my boyfriend and tell him everything that was happening, because he was the only person that I can think of that would take me and say, "Hey, I'm not letting you sleep outside. I'm not letting you be lost like this." I realized that my mother had took my phone. My phone wasn't in my bag or anything like that. So I was like, okay, crap. I gotta find someone out there with a phone. And I was able to find someone who's nice and friendly enough to let me borrow their phone to call my boyfriend and tell him everything that happened. And at that time, I had to lug all my stuff. I had to go to the bank to get money. And as I came back, because I left my luggage in the apartment. Not the apartment, but it's a building. So I left my luggage in the building, and I left, got some cash, was able to find someone nice enough to let me use their phone, and then I came back, and I was nice enough to it was great that I was able to find a nice cab driver to pick me up, let me borrow his phone again to update my boyfriend on what was going on. And I had to leave my luggage at his house, because at the time he was actually in Times Square working. He was doing a night shift, and it had to be maybe about 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. I had to go back to his job, and mind you guys, I think I had work maybe 11 in the morning. So I got to his job. It had to be maybe about 6 going on 7 o'clock, and we took the train back to his house. And I remember just being so exhausted, so tired. I had absolutely no energy. There were like a few spots and marks on my face that were bruised up a little bit. And I didn't notice it until I woke up a few hours later to get myself ready for work. And I just continued my day as if nothing happened. There were times where I would find myself crying myself to sleep, and my boyfriend was there for me to comfort me. But it's not a good feeling to feel like you lost a parent. I mean, she still is here physically, but I lost a parent, someone who, was there for me, someone who's supposed to support you and, get you to push and strive for your dreams, And she wasn't there for me, and from then on, I haven't spoken to my mother ever since. And although my trauma was so traumatic and things were going on back to back, you know, not finishing school and having to pay all this debt and bills and learning how to be an adult, and then getting abandoned from my mom, and then getting kicked out, and then moving in with my boyfriend, and then, you know, our relationship was having issues too because, you know, we were young, and, you know, being in a relationship at such a young age and living together are two different things. So there were some issues, you know, that we were having in our relationship. Thank God things are great now. We completely understand each other. But we were going through our ups and downs as well too. So it was so many things, so many traumatic situations that were going back to back to back, guys. But guess what? If it wasn't for those traumatic situations, I wouldn't be here where I am right now. And, you know, my mother is actually the main reason I want to say I push and strive more for my business, Fashionably Yours, because I feel motivated to be different and be better and show her that I was still able to make something out of myself. I still became a better person. Fashionably Yours was born, and Fashionably Yours, I want to say, was mainly born because of my inner insecurities. You know, as a woman, we go through so many things, we sacrifice so many things, we see so many beautiful celebrities and models, and we want to be that. We want to be that. We want to be thinner, we want to be taller, we want to be slimmer. And I started realizing that we're all beautiful. We're all beautiful human beings. And as I was doing I was doing the same thing. I was styling people to make them feel more confident and comfortable with their outer beauty. Sometimes we don't realize how beautiful we are on the outside because we're so stuck in society's way of saying how we should look. We should be slimmer, we should be lighter, we should be darker, we should be taller, we should be whatever it is. And we're all beautiful in our own way. And that's what sparked my image for Fashionably Yours. So before I wrap it up, guys, I'm so happy that you guys stayed till the end because I have a little super duper surprise for you all. So for those of you who don't know, I love to do webinars. And I'm actually doing my third webinar, which is all about our wardrobe workshop. And what our wardrobe workshop is really all about is talking about different topics that the average human being like myself has issues with. So this topic that we're going to be discussing with our, you know, physical body and when it comes to shopping is finding your personal color analysis. So those of you who don't know what a color analysis is, a color analysis is all about finding the right colors that work well for your skin tone, your body shape, and your persona. So finding your personal color analysis is all an art because you're an art and color is an art and you want to find the right art that works for you, right? We'll talk about what are the common issues, and we'll also talk about and discuss what color schemes work well for the four basic different color schemes of people. And that also depends, I'm not going to get into too much details, but you know, your personal color analysis does change depending on your skin tone, it does change depending on your eye color, and it also depends on the color of your hair, right? Let's say I decided to get red hair. My personal color analysis will be completely different because red hair gives me a different shade for my skin altogether. And we're not even going to get into detail when you're in natural light and when you're in sunlight and shade and all that good stuff, because we're going to talk about all of that in the webinar. I want to invite you guys all to our wardrobe workshop, which will be July 8th. And it's all virtual. It's going to be at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. And what I'm going to do for you guys, drum roll please, is I'm going to give you guys a $5 off coupon code. With that being said, just make sure you go on our website at fashionableyoursnyc.com/wardrobe workshop, which should be in the link below. We're putting it somewhere over here. And once you register, all you need to do for a promo code is literally type in the number 5 off, OFF. Get $5 off of your next ticket for our wardrobe workshop, which is all about finding your personal color analysis. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stay tuned, stay updated with us. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, which is Fashionably Yours NYC. Fashionably Yours NYC all around. We actually just started Twitter, so we need some new followers, and our Twitter name is FY_NYC. We're also on Pinterest at FY_NYC, and I hope you guys have a great one. Thank you.